Well, we got another board to fix. Long story short is the front of this hit the coral bottom, a coquina actually, down by RC's. Anyway, the dilemma is whether to go ahead and try to squish some Q-cell in there and drop it back down. The only problem is the stringer sticks out past here. I could cut that, but I think probably the easiest and safest way is just to go ahead and cut it across here, completely take this off. I went ahead and already scraped the main wax off the area. Gonna go ahead and wipe it down with some acetone, or actually some paint thinner to get the wax off. The main reason I want to do this is because once I start sanding, I don't want to transfer any of the wax into the new stuff. I want to get it all nice and clean so that the fiberglass sticks to it. Got some 40 grit paper here. Now I want to clean up all the edges, feather back the fiberglass at about a 45-degree angle, and just basically knock all the extra burrs off and rough up all around the edges of the patch. Just about 2 inches or so out. Kind of clean up the foam a little bit too. If you look close, these edges are really nasty looking, so I'm going to go ahead and sand them off back the other way somewhat. I wanted to leave this, but I noticed it was loose, so it's really loose, it's really not doing anything. So I just pull it out. I'm going to do a quick look, see, make sure it all fits together. Yeah, I think it's going to be good enough. Do a piece together if you hold the board vertical. Afraid that if I just stick this on, I end up with a big air bubble or something underneath it, and that might make it weak. So what I'm going to do is drill a couple holes around here to make sure that it doesn't happen. I'm really doing this because of the color. Probably it's stronger just to cut this whole piece of glass off and start over with a fresh piece, but I'm also going to put a couple of little stab wounds in it, so that some of the Q-cell will get squeezed into it, make it kind of like a little joint. A couple little crisscrosses in there. This is epoxy resin, which is 4 parts resin to 1 part hardener. I want this mixture to be about, you know, kind of like soft peanut butter. Q-cell is really like a foam dust. Real light and powdery. I'm going to be doing both these boards at the same time, so I mix up a little more than I should. It's better to do one project at a time, but whatever. Well, maybe it's still a little thin. I made a mistake here. I should have put tape up on the board so this stuff doesn't drip down, but usually I want to beat all around it with some tape machine, but I forgot to do that. But the board's fairly waxed, and I'll get most of this stuff off while it's still wet. This one's a little easier to work with. I got gravity helping me. You want to have enough on there that because you've sanded the foam out that it will squeeze into all the spots. That's pretty good for the sanding. I gotta fill all that one more time. Now for the top. trying to get most of this decal out, sand up like there. I don't care too much about this too much. The color's not going to match, and I don't really care. I want to do the front and back at the same time, so I put some putty on here, some Q-cell and resin, and then I put some tape on it because I want to flip the board over, and there's a couple of holes here that you can still see, so I globbed it on, some tape on it, pressing it down. This way the gravity hopefully won't make it pop out, and I can still use the rest of the stuff on the other side. I don't know if this is a good idea or not, but I just want to get it done. This is why you usually tape up around it so you don't have to clean up all this extra mess. I didn't see any way around it, so I'm just going to cut this little bubble out. Now I've got to fill it and then putty it. Now I'm using 100 grit to go ahead and feather the rest of it. You don't want to keep the sander in one spot too long because the friction builds up heat, and heat's not good for the fiberglass. Might make it rubbery, it might make it peel, so just keep moving it around. Now we're just wet sanding it first with 100 grit, and we use cloth paper. And you could keep doing this with finer and finer grit. Usually they finish off with about 500 and then polish it, but this is just an old beat up board. I don't care that much. I'll probably hit it with 100 and maybe 220, something like that.